Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Tuan here, and today we are going to explore together a topic that makes my heart beat faster every time I think about it, an idea that could completely change the way you view everyday life. Imagine you are sitting in a cozy room on a late evening. Outside the window are the dim yellow street lights twinkling, the distant sounds of vehicles echoing like the whispers of a sleeping city, and I am telling you about the evidence that is becoming increasingly clear, showing that we might be living in a virtual world, like a gigantic game that has been programmed with great sophistication. In today's conversation, I will share with you evidence from all over the internet, from leading experts, and even personal stories that have made me startle in the middle of the night. By the time you listen to the end, I am sure you will feel a gentle shock spreading in your heart, like when you suddenly realize a great secret, making everything around you suddenly become strange and full of mystery. You know, I clearly remember those moments, when seeing a shocking photo on social media, or witnessing an event that makes the mind spin. I often let out a long sigh, filled with surprise and sometimes sadness. This is too unreal. Why is it like this? Too illogical. Those words naturally come out of my mouth. Have you ever experienced that feeling? That is when your heart is telling you something deep inside. In fact, when we react like that, it is because the subconscious is comparing what the eyes see and the ears hear with the familiar rules we have learned since childhood, the conventions about the world around us. Our brain, that wonderful computer, always reminds us that everything in life is based on a solid foundation: mechanics with the smooth movements of wheels, chemistry with reactions bubbling vigorously in test tubes, electricity with invisible but powerful flows, and kinetics with energy transforming endlessly. These things bind everything around us, and they are the laws of physics that we start learning from middle school, the immutable rules that make the world operate smoothly like a gigantic machine. And the interesting thing is, all those laws can be expressed through precise mathematical formulas, strictly adhering to every definition. Think about the great discovery of Albert Einstein, the famous equation that states energy equals mass multiplied by the square of the speed of light, a simple formula, but it opens the door to understanding the universe. In other words, the world we see every day, from the towering mountains covered in white snow, to the rivers sparkling under the morning sun, and the entire vast universe with billions of twinkling stars, seems to be built from mathematics, designed carefully and exquisitely. The ancients realized this a long time ago. Let's go back to the year 500 before the Common Era. The ancient Greek philosopher and mathematician Pythagoras, with his long silver hair and deep eyes, once said that humans did not invent mathematics, but this world is made from mathematics. He saw harmony in music, in the shapes of flowers and leaves, and believed that everything follows sacred numbers. Pythagoras founded a school where followers studied numbers as the essence of reality, influencing thinkers for centuries, including Plato, who in his dialogue Timaeus described the universe as a geometric creation. Now, think about us, tiny humans who have only existed on this planet for more than 10,000 years since our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, yet we have been able to use computer technology to create vivid virtual reality worlds. You just need to put on virtual reality glasses, and suddenly you are standing on the top of Everest with cold wind blowing through your ears, or diving deep under the ocean with dolphins swimming around you. Behind all those wonders, nothing more than the simplest chains of code, the numbers 0 and 1 repeating endlessly. So, how can we be sure that our universe, with its complex mathematical formulas that have existed for 14 billion years, is not a virtual world created by an older, more advanced civilization? Imagine, if this world is virtual, then we are evolving within that space, imitating our creator by building other virtual worlds, like a dream within a dream, layer upon layer, making your heart suddenly excited because of the infinity. This concept, known as the simulation hypothesis, was popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom in his 2003 paper, Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?, where he argues that if advanced civilizations can create simulations, and they create many, then it's statistically likely we're in one rather than base reality. Bostrom's trilemma suggests one of three possibilities: civilizations go extinct before creating simulations, they choose not to, or we're almost certainly in a simulation. To make it clearer, let's talk about the connection between quantum mechanics and the idea of a virtual world, something I have pondered since I was little. Remember those mornings waking up, you step out of bed with sleepy eyes, seeing the old wooden table in the middle of the living room, and on it is half a fried dough stick crisp and left over from last night's dinner. Oh, the table is still intact, sturdy as every day. But that half dough stick has disappeared completely. Your heart suddenly panics, heart pounding, this is too supernatural. Did the physics and politics teachers lie to me? Tomorrow I have to go to school and ask for clarity. Then suddenly, a light but stinging slap on the back of the head from Dad, his voice booming, I ate your half dough stick, and you're planning to sue the teachers. Looks like your materialism isn't strong enough yet. So I was pulled back to the warm fireplace, with the crackling sound of burning wood and smoke floating lazily, and from then on, I became a faithful atheist, at least in front of the family. But on bright moonlit nights, after playing with friends until exhausted, on the dark road home with leaves rustling under my feet, I often looked up at the full moon hanging in the pitch-black sky. I wondered how to prove that the moon is still there when I am not looking at it. Or when everyone turns away, does it suddenly disappear? When I look, is it a solid rock sphere? And when not looking, is it in a completely different state? Those thoughts made my heart uneasy, but then the image of Dad's slap appeared again, making me quickly dismiss them. Until recent years, when quantum mechanics suddenly became popular everywhere, like a new wind blowing through every corner of life. Now, even the building security guard can tell you about the wave-particle duality of light, or the mysterious double-slit experiment. I remember a cozy dinner party, candlelight flickering on the table full of delicious food, the strong aroma of Moutai wine spreading, an elderly leader, nearly 50 years old, after a few glasses of wine, suddenly forgot his role as a materialist warrior. He took out his phone, voice excited telling about quantum physics and the double-slit experiment, where light sometimes is a wave spreading vast like the ocean, sometimes a particle shooting straight. This is real science, he said, eyes shining. At that moment, I thought he also had duality. When the leader looks, he is a steadfast materialist warrior. When not, he becomes a fascinating metaphysical master. The double-slit experiment, first performed by Thomas Young in 1801, shows that electrons or photons behave as waves when unobserved, creating interference patterns, but as particles when measured, collapsing into definite positions. This observer effect has been replicated countless times, with modern variations using buckyballs and even molecules, as reported in experiments up to 2025. It turns out, there really is something that displays two completely opposite states depending on whether we observe it or not, and that thing is light, the gentle light that illuminates every corner of life, from brilliant dawn to red sunset. Light is a giant bug at the cosmic level, and have you ever wondered why the speed of light is the inviolable limit, about 300,000 kilometers per second, nothing and no one can exceed? Who set that limit, like an invisible wall surrounding the universe? The birth of quantum physics in the early 20th century, with scientists like Max Planck, Niels Bohr, and Werner Heisenberg, made the once strict, rigid world of physics suddenly flexible, full of surprises. Quantum physics teaches us that, if you magnify any object, from a sparkling grain of sand on the beach to a red apple on the branch, magnify forever, magnify to the most microscopic level, you will see the smallest units are quarks, those fundamental particles dancing endlessly, creating the essence of everything. I feel excited thinking about this, because if you magnify our computer virtual world, from the large screen with vivid graphics, magnify forever, you will see pixels, those tiny squares that are the foundation of the image. Planck's constant, introduced in 1900, quantizes energy, and the Heisenberg uncertainty principle from 1927 states you can't precisely know both position and momentum, introducing inherent probabilistic nature. From quantum gravity theories, developed by physicists like Stephen Hawking, and more recently advances in string theory, not only matter but also time and space cannot be divided infinitely. Spacetime is discrete, like frames in a movie, and the entire universe consists of a finite number of particles, countable. Imagine the universe as a gigantic painting with a fixed number of pixels. This makes me impatiently want to ask, how many pixels exactly to build this universe? And with the latest advances up to the year 2025, experiments at the Large Hadron Collider in CERN continue to confirm the existence of quarks and other subatomic particles, strengthening the idea that reality may be digitized. The LHC, operational since 2008, has discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, and ongoing upgrades like the high luminosity LHC planned for the late 2020s aim to probe deeper into quantum realms, potentially revealing more about discretization. Continue. You surely know about the Big Bang Theory, the most influential theory in modern cosmology, widely accepted by the scientific community. It describes that the universe began from a superhot, superdense singularity, about 13.8 billion years ago, and expanded to create everything we see today. This idea was first proposed by Belgian astronomer Georges Lemaitre in the year 1927, when he was sitting in his office with calculations scribbled on paper, imagining the universe like an exploding egg. Then, in the year 1929, Edwin Hubble, the person after whom the Hubble Space Telescope is named, observed through a giant telescope, seeing all galaxies reddening and moving away from us, like balloons released in the wind, leading to the theory of an expanding universe. And the discovery of cosmic microwave background radiation in the year 1965 by Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, like the remaining whisper from the explosion, further proves the universe has an origin, along with space and time. The latest observations from the James Webb Space Telescope, launched in the year 2021 and continuing to send data up to the year 2025, show ancient galaxies forming earlier than predicted, but still reinforce the Big Bang model with cosmic inflation. JWST's infrared capabilities have imaged galaxies from when the universe was less than 300 million years old, challenging but refining timelines within the Lambda CDM model. But the big question that makes our hearts ponder, the universe cannot arise from nothing, right? So where did it come from? Most physicists today, like those following quantum fluctuation theories in vacuum, explain the Big Bang originating from random fluctuations at the quantum level. But if matter flies out from space, then where does space come from? How do quantum fluctuations create time, space, and self-start? No one explains clearly, making you lie on the bed late at night, staring at the dark ceiling, heart full of questions. But if the universe is virtual, everything is so simple. We are in an unparalleled powerful supercomputer, and the Big Bang is just the moment the switch is turned on, boom. Like the sound of the power button in a dim server room, blue light flashing. From that, it follows that there must be a programmer. The world operates according to physical laws, strict cause and effect like iron chains. But if there is an event that violates, we call it a miracle, like water turning into wine in the Bible, or the Red Sea parting. Today, miracles are rare, but in the Old Testament, God intervenes directly, destroying sinful cities with fire from the sky, or guiding Moses through the desert with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Like when playing a game, you see the character playing poorly, immediately reset or edit. We are probably both characters and players, self-aware artificial intelligence in the simulation. Perhaps we are trying to communicate with the programmer through prayer, and if prayer works, like sudden rain after drought, thunder echoing, it means someone is reading our thoughts, intervening outside the laws. Reports of answered prayers span cultures, from Lourdes healings documented medically to modern studies on intercessory prayer, though results are debated. Then there are parallel universes, multiverse, ideas from Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation of quantum theory in the year 1957, and more recently with eternal inflation models. Perhaps the programmer runs multiple versions at once, with different parameters, like slightly changing the gravitational constant to see how the universe evolves. Because it is a program, there must be bugs. Many people are born with detailed past life memories. A boy in India clearly remembers an old house in another village, verified accurately through research by Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia, with thousands of cases to date. That is probably old data not deleted, like junk files on a hard drive. Young children often talk about past lives at 3 or 4 years old, with innocent but certain voices, then grow up and forget everything because of the update, fixing the bug. The latest studies in the year 2025 from psychologists continue to record similar cases, although mainstream science still debates. Stevenson's work, continued by Jim Tucker, includes over 2,500 cases with birthmarks matching past injuries. Superpowers like mind reading or prophecy are probably bugs, glitches in the source code. From ancient times to now, we wonder why God created a world full of flaws, war, disease, suffering. Perhaps not a benevolent God, but a realistic programmer, setting parameters to make the universe interesting. If you were the programmer, would you choose a utopian world without suffering, everyone happy forever like an eternal amusement park? Or a world full of changes, challenges, for characters to develop? Most would choose the latter, because the first is boring, and too perfect would make players suspect the reality. The utopian world in the ancient Book of Enoch suddenly chaotic before the Great Flood, perhaps to avoid revealing the secret. We probably will never know the origin of the Creator, the true intention. Perhaps he gives us half wisdom, enough to be curious, use science to explore, from telescopes to particle accelerators, but never touch the truth, because we are the product, hard to reverse the process. Quantum mechanics may be the key to 3 great mysteries: the beginning of the universe, life, consciousness. But humans probably will never fully understand that primordial power. If one day we understand, perhaps that is the time to escape the simulation, like a character in a movie stepping out into the real world. Anyway, each of us will eventually leave this world. Where does the soul go? Buddhism talks about reincarnation, the cycle of birth and death with karma. Christianity says believers in Jesus go to heaven of light, others to dark hell. Either way, it sounds like places outside this world. If not taking the body, just a fleeting dream. What is our purpose here? I think it is to experience, learn through joy and sadness. The world may be virtual, but emotions, echoing laughter, rolling tears, warm love, are real. Feel with your heart, find your own meaning. Today we have traveled a long way together. Thank you for listening. I am Tuan. See you in the next episode.